At first glance, this looks like a simple, peaceful scene from the ancient Indian literature. A young woman has stopped along a forest path because she stepped on a thorn and she is lifting her foot to pull it out. But look closer at this 1898 masterpiece by Raja Ravi Varma titled Shakuntala. If you think this is a painting about a minor foot injury, you are completely missing the secret. High stakes drama hiding in a plain sight. There is no thorn. The thorn is an absolute lie. This precise movement comes from the Kalidasa's legendary Sanskrit play, the Abhijnanashakuntalam. Shakuntala has just met King Dushyanta in the forest. They have fallen instantly, deeply in love, but now it's time to part ways. As she walks away with her companions, her heart is left entirely behind. The thorn is nothing but an elaborate, brilliant excuse to freeze time, turn around, and steal one final glance at the love of her life. Today, we are decoding this stunning artwork to see how India's most revolutionary painter used European oil techniques to capture the ultimate psychological trick of ancient poetry. To appreciate the genius of this painting, you have to understand the dangerous tightrope the painter himself was walking. In the late 1800s, India was under the strict British colonial rule. Traditional Indian art like flat, highly stylized temple miniatures was being completely dismissed by Westerners as primitive. Raja Ravi Varma changed everything. He committed a sort of cultural treason in the eyes of the British art establishment by mastering the exact weapon, European academic or realism. He taught himself how to paint light, shadow, texture, and anatomically accurate human bodies on canvas. But instead of painting European aristocrats, he applied these realistic techniques to ancient Indian epics. He gave old legends a pulse, a heartbeat, a real recognizable human emotions. And Shakuntala is arguably his finest example of this archaeological realism. Which brings us right back to the physical mechanics. Look at how perfectly the artist translates this emotional tug-of-war into literal muscle memory across the canvas. Her body is facing forward, moving down the path, but her head and shoulders are violently pulled back. It creates a beautiful, dynamic tension. Her duty is pushing her forward, but her desire is pulling her backward. She is balancing on one foot, pretending to check her soul. In Kalidasa's original text, she specifically blames a sharp blade of kusa grass for pricking her foot, using it as a socially acceptable excuse to freeze her entire body. Look at the women surrounding her. Those are her two closest friends from the hermitage, Anasuya and Priyamvada. Priyamvada isn't looking at the foot. She is looking directly at Shakuntala's face with a knowing sly smile. She has completely called her friend's bluff, adding a delightful layer of realistic human intimacy to the grand myth. But perhaps the most brilliant cinematic trick Ravi Varma pulls off here is what he doesn't show you. He chose not to paint the king, King Dushyanta, who is standing somewhere completely off canvas to the right. By keeping the king invisible, the artist forces us to occupy the exact same emotional space as Shakuntala. We feel the distance, we feel the longing. The entire composition acts like a camera lens, focusing heavily on her reaction, leaving our imagination to construct the man who is about to walk out of her life. Meanwhile, look at the background on the left. An elderly sage wrapped in a pale shawl walks away into the trees, completely oblivious to the romantic drama unfolding behind his back. It creates a powerful juxtaposition between the cold, detached world of spiritual duty and the warm, fragile world of human love. But why is this single pot so high stake? To truly feel the weight of this look, we have to understand the tragic backstory of the woman on this canvas. Shakuntala wasn't just an ordinary forest maiden. She was born out of a massive cosmic scandal. Her mother was Menka, a celestial nymph sent by the king of the gods, Indra, to break the intense world-altering meditation of the fierce sage Vishwamitra. The seduction worked, but the romance was doomed. Abandoned in the wilderness as an infant, she was raised in the total isolation of a forest ashram by a gentle hermit sage Kanava. Years later, King Dushyanta enters this exact forest on a royal hunt. He stumbles upon Shakuntala's sanctuary. They fall into a whirlwind love, and they marry in secret right there in the woods. What Ravi Varma is capturing on this canvas is the exact bittersweet split second after this intense romance speaks. The king has to return to his palace, leaving his young bride behind with his royal signet ring as a promise. Accompanied by Anasuya and Premvada, Shakuntala is walking away, entirely torn between her predictable life and the royal world she just touched. But what makes these innocent pots so heart-wrenching is the dark tragedy waiting for her just around the corner. Because Shakuntala becomes completely consumed by the daydreaming state, she makes a fatal mistake back at the hermitage. Lost in the thoughts of a new husband, she completely fails to notice the arrival of the notoriously short-tempered cosmic sage Durvasa. Feeling deeply insulted by her lack of hospitality, the sage unleashes a devastating curse. The person you are pining over will completely forget you ever existed. After her friends beg for mercy, the sage softens the blow. The curse will break, but only if she shows the king a token of his love. Months later, a pregnant Shakuntala travels to the royal palace to claim her place as queen, King Dushyanta's wife. But while crossing a river, the royal signet ring slips off a finger and vanishes into the deep water. When she finally stands before King Dushyanta, the curse is absolute. He looks at her with cold eyes, denies ever knowing her, and publicly humiliates her. In Kalidasa's epic, as a broken-hearted Shakuntala weeps in total isolation, the heavens suddenly rip open. In a flash of divine light, she is swept away by celestial beings, completely vanishing from the mortal court to give birth to her son, Sarvadaman, later known as Bharata, in the hidden realm of the gods. Years pass. A poor fisherman catches a massive fish, cuts it open, and finds the lost royal ring glittering inside its belly. The moment it is brought before the king Dushyanta, the cosmic curse shatters instantly. Flooded with immense guilt and agonizing grief, the king realizes the horror of what he has done. He abandons his royal comfort and wanders the world in search of his lost bride. His search finally leads him to a secret celestial mountain valley, believed to be Himalayas. And there, he witnesses an unbelievable sight. A wild, fierce little boy who is physically prying open the jaws of a living lion cub, boldly shouting, "Open your mouth, king of the jungle, let me count your teeth." Mesmerized by the child's unnatural bravery, the king looks closer and realizes this boy is his own son, Sarvadaman, who will be later known as Bharata, the legendary child who would grow up to become the foundational emperor after whom India itself, Bharat, is named. Later, Shakuntala steps out into the clearing. The fractured family is finally made whole again, resolving one of the greatest long-distance heartbreaks in history. Raja Ravi Varma's Shakuntala isn't just a painting of a scene, it is a masterpiece in visual storytelling. By capturing a single split second of hesitation, desire, and playful deception, he transformed an entire literary text into a living, breathing moment of human vulnerability. He would later mass produce this painting as a cheap lithograph, allowing millions of everyday Indian households to own fine art for the very first time, democratizing art across an entire subcontinent. Next time you see someone hesitate and turn around, remember Shakuntala. They might not have a thorn in their foot. They might just be leaving their heart behind. What do you think of Raja Ravi Varma's blend of Western realism and Indian mythology? Let me know in the comments. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.